What if the most powerful man in the ancient world told you that the greatest empire you could rule was not Rome, but yourself? This is the story of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, who discovered that discipline, not wealth or armies, is the true key to greatness. The Roman Empire of the 2nd century was vast, stretching from the deserts of Egypt to the green hills of Britannia. At its center sat Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, draped in the purple robes of power. To most, he was a man who had everything, palaces, gold, legions at his command. But Marcus knew that power was a double-edged sword. Many emperors before him had been destroyed not by enemies, but by themselves, consumed by greed, anger, or excess. He swore his reign would be different. His empire would not be built on indulgence, but on discipline. Every morning before the city stirred, Marcus sat alone with a simple wax tablet and stylus. In the stillness of dawn, he wrote words not for others, but for himself. Reminders, warnings, encouragement. These writings, later known as meditations, were his way of disciplining the mind. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." For Marcus, discipline began with thought. To rule Rome, he had to first rule his own mind. But philosophy was tested by fire. A plague swept through Rome, killing thousands. Families were torn apart, the streets filled with fear. Many advised Marcus to flee to the countryside, to preserve himself. But Marcus stayed. He walked among the sick, comforted the dying, and directed resources to keep Rome alive. One senator whispered, "Why risk yourself, Caesar?" Marcus replied, "What is the value of power if it cannot endure hardship? The emperor must serve discipline, not comfort." Through his steady hand, Rome did not collapse. His discipline became a shield protecting millions. Soon another storm arose. Tribes from the north poured across the empire's borders, fierce warriors threatening Rome's stability. Marcus was already weary, his body weakened by years of duty. He could have delegated the war to generals while remaining in luxury, but discipline demanded more. He donned armor, mounted his horse, and marched with his legions into frozen forests. Soldiers, seeing their emperor endure the same hunger, cold, and danger they did, found courage. Marcus was not just a ruler, he was a living example of discipline. Victory was not swift, but it was earned through endurance, patience, and relentless self-control. Even greater than war and plague was the subtle enemy of temptation. Marcus lived in palaces where gold gleamed and banquets overflowed with delicacies. He could have indulged endlessly, but he chose simplicity, plain clothing, modest meals, and time spent not in endless feasts, but in reflection. When asked why, he said, "It is not abstinence I seek, but freedom from desires that enslave men." His discipline was not about denial, but about liberation. To him, pleasure was fleeting, but self-mastery was eternal. The personal losses discipline also held him through grief. Marcus buried several of his children during his reign, losses that would have broken many men. In his writings, he admitted the pain, but reminded himself, "Do not pray for life to be easier. Pray to be stronger." Instead of despair, he turned sorrow into fuel for wisdom. His discipline transformed pain into perspective, reminding him and us that even tragedy can be endured with strength of mind. The philosopher Emperor Marcus never saw discipline as chains, but as wings. Discipline gave him freedom from fear, freedom from anger, freedom from being ruled by impulse. He believed that the measure of a man was not how much power he wielded over others, but how much power he had over himself. And so, even in the midst of ruling the world's greatest empire, Marcus Aurelius remained a student of life, of virtue, of discipline. Marcus Aurelius died on campaign, far from marble palaces with soldiers by his side. His last gift to the world was not territory or treasure, but wisdom written in his meditations. Words like, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Centuries have passed, yet his discipline continues to guide millions. His empire has crumbled, but his self-mastery remains immortal. So when you face temptation, when you struggle against fear, or when you feel overwhelmed, remember Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who proved that the greatest victory is not conquering the world, but conquering yourself. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more timeless lessons that can transform your life.